Hello, my name is Karen Moore and I've recently been made a trustee for the Townswomen's Guild. I'm also the Vice Chair of Sedgley Evening Townswomen's Guild. One woman that I think should be remembered and written into history is Eliza Tinsley, who was born over 200 years ago yet became a very successful Nail Mistress businesswoman. As she lived most of her life in Sedgley, where my own guild is located, she is known in the local area, but probably not further afield. I became aware of Eliza Tinsley when I was researching the history of Sedgley in 2019. This research first began in an effort to complete one of the TG 100 challenges, which was to make a local tour guide. After a lot of hard work and collaboration with the local history group, Dudley Council and others, it resulted in 3,000 copies being published of a Sedgley Heritage Trail leaflet, which contains a number of references to Eliza Tinsley. But before I talk any more about Eliza Tinsley, I think a bit of historical and geographical context is needed. Sedgley is a small town in the Black Country. This term, Black Country, today commonly refers to the 4 metropolitan boroughs of Dudley, Sandwell, Walsall and Wolverhampton, although it is said that no 2 Black Country men or women will agree on where it starts or ends. Sedgley is part of Dudley Metropolitan Borough. The area became industrialised in the Industrial Revolution, with coal mines, coking, iron foundries, glass factories, brickworks and steel mills, producing a high level of air pollution. The Black Country name dates from the 1840s and is believed to come from the soot that the heavy industries covered the area in. Canals were of crucial importance in the development of Black Country industry to transport the iron and other materials. Chain making was one important industry. This photo is from a modern-day demonstration at the Black Country Living Museum in Dudley. In 2012, the Black Country flag was designed by Elihu Burritt to represent the industrial past of the area that was described as black by day and red by night, and the chains made. Another industry of the Black Country that was particularly widespread in Sedgley was nail making. This photo is another modern day demonstration from the Black Country Living Museum. But nail making was a cottage industry, often carried out by women and children who laboured in small, cramped workshops next to their dwellings, with very little pay for making the iron nails. Many different types of horse nails were produced in the Dudley area. This is a drawing of a nail warehouse in Sedgley by local Sedgley artist Ron Baker, and it is still standing today. Iron rods were doled out to the local nailers to be forged into finished nails in their small backyard nail shops. Here are the same nail shops in Sedgley just before demolition. The site is now a car park. Back to the Eliza Tinsley story. She was born in 1813 in Wolverhampton and was a daughter of an innkeeper. In 1839, she married Thomas Tinsley, a nailmonger of Sedgley, at All Saints Church. During the next 12 years, Eliza gave birth to 6 children. Thomas prospered in the nail business and expanded into chain making. They had a splendid new house built in Sedgley. Tragically, the eldest of their 6 children, Elizabeth, died in May 1851, just before they moved in. The following month, Thomas died suddenly. Within weeks, and with 5 children under the age of 11, Eliza began to run the family business in her own name and called the house the Limes. She took over the running of not only her husband's company, but also her father-in-law's business as well, as he had died in 1849. Having learnt a great deal from Thomas, she continued to run the business, and it soon became very successful. Not only did she hold her own in the wrought nail trade, but she became so successful that the business was the largest of its kind in Staffordshire, with warehouses at Sedgley, Old Hill, Dudley, Womben, Old Swinford, Catshill and Bromsgrove. This advert from 1860 shows a range of products that the company were now manufacturing. According to the National Census of 1871, around 4,000 people were employed by Eliza Tinsley, producing wrought iron nails, rivets, chains, chain cables, anchors and more. Many of these employees were outworkers living in nailmakers' cottages, visiting the site once a week to collect materials and then returning the next week with finished products. Although there were many women nail and chain makers in the low-paid jobs, chain making was incredibly labour-intensive, and the heat, dirt and strength involved resulted in a very male-dominated industry, making Eliza's success even more of an achievement for a woman at that time. She did not stay home to conduct her business, but was quite prepared to visit customers throughout the UK, and was respected for her business ability and her knowledge of the trade. She also gained a reputation for being a fair and humane employer at a time when the trade had a bad reputation brought about by the activities of nail foggers. A nail fogger was a middleman who preyed upon the poverty of the nailers, supplying them with iron on credit, much as the nailmaster did, but buying the nails back at well below list prices. This is a mine chain produced at the Eliza Tinsley Works, and said to be the longest and heaviest chain in one length made in the Black Country. Because of a long period of widowhood, and having spent most of her life in Sedgley, Eliza became known locally as the Widow. She was, however, a generous benefactor in the locality, and memorial stones laid by her can still be found in the district. Here is one laid by her in 1862 when the Temperance Hall and Ragged School were built. This stone has since been transferred to St Andrew's Church, Sedgley. She was also a generous benefactor to local charities, sometimes working with her neighbour Frederick Augustus Homer. A community ward at Rowley Regis Hospital was named as the Eliza Tinsley Ward in 2013 in memory of the Black Country businesswoman. At the age of 58, Eliza retired and sold the business to a partnership in 1872, amongst whom was Harry Green. A fifth generation of that family still remains closely linked with the business today. Automation in manufacturing greatly influenced the product range, such as motor vehicles diminished the demand for horse nails. The business expanded over the years with the acquisition of a number of other companies. In 2008, the business moved from the Cradley Heath Old Hill site, which is in the photograph, to a much larger business in Wednesbury. It has retained the Eliza Tinsley name, as can be seen from the company website. Eliza Tinsley lived at the Limes in Sedgley until her death in 1882. After many other uses over the years, it was converted to apartments for residential use in June 2013, and an information board erected on the site for all to find out its history. Eliza was buried in Sedgley at All Saints Church, where she and Thomas were married. A memorial to Eliza Tinsley stands by the Gosty Tunnel on the No. 2 Canal in Dudley, and the inscription gives a good recap of why she should be remembered. Eliza Tinsley, 1813 to 1882, a proper Black Country woman. Eliza was widowed by 1851 with 5 kids, but still managed to run her husband's company. Over 20 years, she built up his small business, to one employing over 4,000 people, making some of the world's longest chains. Still a going concern, the company spans 3 centuries. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it of interest and will remember the name of Eliza Tinsley.